Good evening. I'm Stephen Carter, better known in many circles as the Black Butterfly. I'm sitting in for Othel Owen, who is the normal moderator for the show tonight. Our show is The Black Star, Still Rising. And it's still rising with a special guest that I've been an admirer of for many, many years, more than she knows, Dorothy R. Lavelle, the publisher, editor of the Crusader magazine. Dorothy, welcome.
Newspaper.
But I say magazine. I saw you.
You
but I made a
That's okay.
big deal. Okay.
That's okay. Chicago and Gary, Indiana.
Chicago and Gary. I've been
Yes.
an admirer of you personally,
Oh, thank
and
you.
also the newspaper, because I lived in the neighborhood down the street at 6238 South Park, where the Crusader is right down the street and passed it
Absolutely.
almost every day. But they reach you on to be in contact, be engaged with you on another level, professional level, is so exciting to me, and I'm so glad to have you. And so many things.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm very
yes.
pleased to be here.
Well, very few of our audience knows how engaging she is, but very few people know that she's bilingual. She speaks French.
I do.
And you've told me a few times, excuse my
Oh,
French.
French. Oh, yeah. That French. Yes, I do know that French.
And I say that because she is a woman that does not bite her tongue on what's happening in the community. And for her to be a part of this particular program that's dedicated, inspired by Philip Jackson
Yes.
and the Black Star Project. And now we have Black Star Project rising, still rising,
Yes.
with Philip gone and his legacy living on through his sister,
Yes.
the executive director, Gloria Smith. And by the way, Gloria Smith and Gene Campbell both send their congratulations on you being on the show.
Well, they are subscribers too. I might tell you that, and I know they're a wonderful family. I had a great relationship with Philip and Gloria
Yes.
over many years. I admire the work that they have done and continue to do. First with Philip taking the lead, and now Gloria is in
Taking
her
over, yes.
very quiet and dignified way.
What do
and
you describe
she
her?
is so smart.
Smart, sweet,
Yes, and-
modest,
yes.
and energetic. She's
Just
got that,
totally
yeah,
different
right.
from me. And
Well, you're not smart. No,
oh
you're
well,
wise.
I'm not.
You're
I'm
wise,
not.
so nothing
I'm
else.
not as dignified and wonderful.
But you're down to earth.
Oh yes, no doubt about
You're
it.
not
Yeah.
engaged with people. But that's one of
Yeah.
the things we're going to talk about.
Okay.
We've just had an election, obviously.
Yes.
And I know that we're going to keep this apolitical in one
Sure,
sense.
sure.
But there are things that I know your experience that we need to share with our viewing audience.
Yes.
Share with them in terms of over the city. We've got a new mayor and new mayoral, the alderman. There's wisdom that needs to be imparted to our viewers.
Yeah.
Wisdom that relates to community or civic engagement, however you want to put it or describe it.
Yeah.
You've been in civic engagement through the publication for so many years, and that's why I said you're a woman that does not bite her tongue.
Yeah, the Crusader is 83 years old, and I have
That's
been.
about all I'm saying.
Oh well, I know. I know how we deal with numbers. We have a numbers friend that deals with them, and we kind of picked up some of his traits. But
But here's what I told you a little bit.
But I don't. I want to say this.
Let me do this first.
Okay.
This is the script that I had wrote. I turned it up.
Okay.
All right.
All right, and
We're
we're
going to
gonna.
have you're going to be
Right.
free to do a whole lot of things.
Let me
except
tell you.
maybe French.
I'll try not to use any of the French terms that
That
I.
you're aware of, okay.
Yes, I'll try not. I mean, I kind of keep those in reserve when people
what I
are
want
not
you to do,
listening.
I want you to show talk about how the average person with this new administration, new alderman, new mayor, how they should engage and make their programs, their agenda important.
Yes,
Please.
absolutely. Well, number one, they need to realize, and I think too often, after the election is over, then we stop engaging, we stop having the kind of dialogue that we need to make sure that those that we elected.
Is that called accountability?
Accountability.
Tell me about it, please.
It is absolutely what it is, and we need a lot. We have a lot of people in high places, and I think one of our main problems has been the fact that we have not made them accountable.
Okay.
We need to, one of the main problems we have in our community, and one that just tears me up, knowing of the fantastic psychologists, psychiatrists that we had in our community, that they closed down his place. He's passed on now, and name is just.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm sure you know him, and we'll come up with his name in a minute. I got so many names going around in my head, but I remember him, and we carried the story in the Crusader, that he was dispensing medication from his lawn to many of the patients that had been there. Well, they closed down that, and the facilities that many of us have. And there are some things that we know in our community that we kind of would not openly engage in conversation about or get the kind of help that we need. But now it's kind of fashionable that people are beginning to admit that they have problems and they're not always happy and they feel hopeless and all of that. And so we need to have a lot of someones that would have programs to deal with that.
I want you to talk about
because a lot of that, well, one of the
CPS.
Yes, education is absolutely.
Tell us tell our audience what they need to be engaged with to hold accountable the police department, the Board of Education, etc. Talk about that.
Oh,
please.
the most important. I started with mental health, but one of the things that was a main theme of the election was safety and crime.
Right.
And many of the acts of violence and destructiveness is because people have mental problems often. It can't be a one-shot kind of thing. It's got to be education. Our people have got to be educated, and that's what we try to do as a Crusader. We talk about it all the time. We want to inform, we want to enlighten, we want to encourage them to be the very best that they can be.
What does the administration have to do to support that? The things you're talking about. What has to change? What has to be adapted? What has to be
the former mayor promised that she was going to open back up the mental health facilities. I would hope that our mayor-elect would have that as one of the top things that he wants to do. I know that he's in favor of free health care, and people say, and I agree, it's a right that we should be able to have good health care, good education. You hear programs now where after you finish high school, you can go to some of the programs at our city colleges, and it's not prohibitive because of the cost. So we want to continue to develop programs so that everybody's not college material. Now, that's what I heard when I was growing up, and I believe that in a way, but many of our people have skills.
Right, skills,
talent, genius, that they just need that opportunity to get the kind of knowledge that will carry them further from that natural talent that they have. And we talk about artists, we talk about skilled tradesmen. The Crusader fought to try to keep the trades in this one high school that we have that was. No, it wasn't Dunbar. It was Calumet. Calumet High School, and they were closing it up. I shall always remember former state senator Jacqueline Collins.
Yes.
She sounded the horn. Hey, we need to do something. They're going to close it up. The Crusader joined with her, and we were able to save that program. We just recently had a program of young people who have disabilities that the staff is taking money out of their pocket to try to teach them how to survive in this society.
But you're also saying,
yeah.
too, that at the individual level, there's things that a parent can do and
Yes.
should be doing
Yeah.
to engage
Yeah.
and make things happen and not
Right.
just leave it
Yeah.
to the leaders.
But they need support.
Yes.
They need support. Many of our parents are one-parent homes, and they got to keep food on the table. They got to keep a place for them to live, and so they find themselves in that more than having the time to spend with the child, to help him with his work, and to seek out programs that can help our young people. We're losing a lot of them
Talk about
because of
losing a
that.
lot.
And that's what's so wonderful about
But well,
Black Star.
Okay.
Black Star. Philip Jackson was just such an amazing
Yes,
man,
yes, no
and his
question.
sister is just as amazing.
Laurie Smith is doing it.
Yes. Now, Philip was, he was a little bit more active physically.
Laurie's a little bit more behind the scenes. Okay.
Yes.
But
Well,
she's
she
effective,
is
yes.
she is brilliant, and she has carried on that program. Many of us wondered, would it continue after Philip passed away? And
Yeah,
she
we'll be
is doing
talking
a
about
wonderful
some of these
job.
programs over these months.
But what we
A few
need to
things
do
going on.
is,
Go ahead.
we're talking about our mayor-elect. From what I could understand, and I hope I don't have the information wrong, that he was only in the classroom like 4 years, and maybe just 4 minutes is
Maybe
enough.
enough in 4 years. It'll last
Yes,
for a lifetime.
yes, but there are so many areas that our young people are not able to grasp subject matter and translate it into everyday life. Everybody can't be a scientist. Everybody can't, and let's not forget, everybody can't be a basketball player or a football player or
right,
sports person. But there are certain fundamentals, just basic things in life that we need to make sure that our young people know.
Now, before
Yeah.
the broadcast, we were talking a little bit about back in the day. If we can talk about back in the day when Reynold Robinson and
Can I tell you?
Southall with the African American Police
Yes,
League,
yes.
what they were doing to tighten up
Yes.
and make the
Yes.
police force responsible.
Yes.
What can you say about that?
Well, let me tell you, they got a lot of opposition for them. They were responsible, and they enlisted other like-minded police officers, and to make sure that they were giving the community the safety that they needed, but also to challenge those in power to give us the kind of equipment that they needed and the kind of training that was necessary and all of that. Were it not for Reynold Robinson and his group, I can't even understand, except for the fact that it was not a popular thing in the scheme of the Chicago Police Department, but it was indeed one. They knew the community. They knew the people in the community.
They empathized?
Yes,
Yes.
and many of the people that they interacted with, they were responsible for their lives being changed, and there were programs that they forced, for lack of a better word, the people in power in the police department to implement. Community policing was an important part.
What would you say to our new mayor-elect in terms of selecting a police chief, police superintendent?
Yes.
What should the mayor be looking for? What should that person
Well,
be?
there's going to have to be a real live, dynamic person. Number one, and he has to have the empathy of the situation in the communities. He's got to know the city, got to know the communities. He's got to enlist people in those communities
Let
to
me
work
ask you a
with them.
controversial point, maybe.
Sure.
You're not afraid of controversy.
No.
Should it be somebody that's in Chicago already, or should they bring somebody in from the outside? Was that a mistake bringing Brown in from the outside, do you think? What's your thoughts?
I think that perhaps it would not have been bad to bring someone from the outside, but without him having the kind of experiences like a Chicago. I think he came from Texas. Texas,
Texas, yeah.
yeah. I don't know if you could
Dallas, I
translate.
think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know about Dallas and what he learned and how he participated there. But Chicago is a unique city. It would be good if they could find someone, but they need to find someone who is really interested in turning things around. Can't get somebody in and have his hands tied. It's going to have to be somebody who's going to be innovative, that's going to be able to get the respect of the rank and file of the police officers.
How are they going to deal with FOP?
Now that is a serious problem. The terrible and nonsensical and irrational statements that was coming from the president of the FOP is frightening.
Yes.
Number one, talking
1,000
about
people were going to quit.
and blood in the
Right,
streets.
That's like Trump, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, I would just frankly say that many of the police officers turned their head or did not give the attention to so many things. During the George Floyd days, during the pandemic, I can remember the policemen with their feet up on the desk and Congressman Rush's office eating
yes.
popcorn and
Unbelievable respect.
yes,
Disrespect.
Yes, and I'm at supposedly the worst block in the city. It's called O Block. It's there. I'm at 6429 South King Drive, right across the street.
There's a car
Yeah.
stationed there every day
Yes,
with a
right.
blue light on.
I thought it was there to protect me. I thought maybe they just
wasn't
wanted to
for
give
you.
me extra care. But I understand there was some opposition. It was some kind of a gang situation that a mural was painted. Chief Vaughn. On the store that's right next door to the
Yes,
Crusader on their wall. Believe it or not, it has become quite a tourist attraction.
To see it.
You see, and you know they're coming from the University of Chicago, coming walking down Old Block, supposed to be the worst block in the city,
Old Block,
and
I
looking at it.
thought of
Yes.
Oscar Brown Jr.'s
Yes.
place in Parkway Gardens where all the pretty women
Yeah.
used to be in those days.
Yeah, but let me tell you, they said that after it was put up, a rival gang was shooting at it, and I understand that's why the police are out there. Now, I thought it was there for a real different reason, but even before they were stationed there, we have had minimum problems in that block. I think it comes from the fact, especially my husband, John Smith, who has a great relationship with the people across the street at Parkway Gardens and in the community. They kind of keep me in the office working all the time, but it gives him an opportunity to interact with the neighbors
Yes.
often. And we have had minimum kinds of problems. The George Floyd thing that they just expected was going to be extremely explosive. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
Well, now they robbed the telephone store in the little
Just that
strip
little thing down the
mall
street,
and
yeah,
strip
right.
mall right next to us.
Yeah.
But we had no problem there, and most of the businesses in the strip mall did not have them now. Telephone stores have been a target for many communities.
Yeah, they're grabbing those
Yeah,
phones, whatever
those
they can do,
telephones,
yeah.
that has been a thing. But I'm here to tell you that we have had, and we moved from 43rd in Indiana in 1964. So we have been there 50-some years. And when we moved there, as the old saying back in Arkansas, where I came from, and down south, we were moving into
stepping in
high
that cotton.
cotton.
All right.
High
Yeah.
cotton, that's what we were
All
there
right.
for. And over the years, we have developed relationships with all kinds of people. And every day, people come by the Crusader. Unfortunately, our oldest black newspaper decided to just go digital. And the Crusader and the Citizen, and now that we've been joined by the Chicago, escaping the name of the paper right now, a new paper started last year. As a matter of fact, you talked about me being featured
Yeah,
in
you were
the
featured in
yeah
that, yes.
on the front cover. I didn't like that picture so much, but
It was a great
oh
picture.
yeah, I didn't look like I was laid out for the count.
You go over fine still. Can I say that on the air?
at any rate, is some of us who are still very, very dedicated to print. Many people in our community still want to feel that
I do.
newspaper. They
What,
enjoy
is this the paper?
That's the paper.
Is this?
That's the
Wait,
paper.
Is this the one which you get that famous editorial?
Yes.
The pound signs will rise above dirty tricks, Mayor Campbell.
Yes, indeed. It was some dirty tricks that went on. You know, I was very, very disturbed that they were putting negative paraphernalia and all in my newspaper that were in Walgreens and other places where we sell our papers. But in addition to that, one of the candidates used my logo to give the impression that I had endorsed.
Unbelievable. That
And
they can do that.
well,
Yes.
that is something that your logo, you know, we want people when they see that, they know it's the Crusader and they know what the Crusader stands for. And so it's an integrity situation that we want people to understand.
And I want you to lead into the future of print magazine and what some of your thoughts in terms
Print
of what
newspapers.
print
You keep
newspaper.
putting me
I said
in a
newspaper, yeah.
magazine.
That's because I
Okay,
work for a
well, let me
magazine.
tell you this. The demise of print publications was a little premature. I do believe at some point we may not have print newspapers. It may be all digital. But there's a problem with the digital situation in that almost anybody can get on and spew all kinds of venom and misinformation.
No way to check.
Yes, there's nobody in the newspaper and all. We get checked when we have something that's not totally accurate. And so we try to change that. And so it's so important. But here's what I say. I say when the New York Times and the Washington Post no longer prints a newspaper, then it'll be time for the Crusader not to do it.
That's right.
And
but I consider the Martha Graham.
Ooh, all I need is Martha's money.
Yeah, Martha Graham Washington Post and how you
Absolutely.
took that over and ran with same kind of scenario. When
Let me tell you, when my husband died, I was 24 years old in 2 days. And I had two young people. I have been at the Crusader this year 62 years.
Don't tell me that.
Yes, 62
Okay,
years,
I got
and the devotion and all and the love that I have enjoyed in being associated, not only in the Chicago paper and the Garrett. Garrett people love me as well, as it has a rich history in both cities. But what is so important is that people come by and say, thank God for the Crusader. I wouldn't know about that.
How do you keep on recruiting folks? What do you do to recruit writers?
Well, I can't recruit enough. Unfortunately, we have quite a few freelancers. I'd like to have more people on staff. But we have done some outstanding reporting. A lot of people have heard Eric Johnson on WVON radio, and he has done some outstanding work. He found the original Angel Mima's grave and found the family to put a
There's a real
tombstone.
Angel Mima?
Yes,
On the
yes, that
pancake
wasn't
box?
her name. Her name was Nancy Green. Yes, and she is buried in Oakwood Cemetery when they didn't
Oakwood?
bury
Any black
black
folks?
people in that cemetery. And they have put a tombstone now on that. Thank goodness to the Oakwood people who helped them find the spot, but it wasn't easy. You couldn't, if you could afford to buy one, you couldn't just put it on the gravesite. Had to be family members, and they had to raise the money to pay for it and all of that, and now it's a fact. The first outstanding astronaut.
Lawrence?
Yes.
Yes,
He did an outstanding thing on that. You know, we call him an astronaut, but you're not an astronaut until you go into outer space. And
I didn't know there was that definition, yes.
And what happened, he was training a pilot, and the pilot wrecked the plane and killed him. The pilot did not die. So he never got a chance to go, and he was scheduled to go, but he never
Miss Glover that is about to go into
Yes, we're
next
looking
month.
forward to that, and of course we have. You remember the young lady? I think she was. She's an astronaut.
Right.
But
doctor too.
yes, a very, very wonderful woman who's so smart. But here's the thing about it. He wrote the story about this guy who didn't get to be an astronaut. And he went to the University of Illinois in Champaign. They did a special event for him and invited his family and all of that.
You know what?
We were running out of
I'm
time.
looking at, I can't believe it.
No, we didn't get a
shout
chance
out to
to.
Gloria Smith and the Black Star Still Rising.
Yes.
The Crusader.
Yes, and believe me that the programs and all that they have for educating, I remember Philip had those young kids and they would recite and
There's
they
some
were just
programs that
wonderful.
Gloria told me about that I have
Yeah.
to bring on the next issue,
Yes.
the next
Yeah,
reiteration of this.
don't invite me, and then you'll have a chance to talk about it.
No, we're gonna have you here.
But
Okay.
I had 62 years. I've got a lot of history. And I know a lot of people, and I've had an opportunity to work with many of them. And I just say to our public with our new administration,
Telling me to wrap up.
okay,
I don't know. What would you want to say to our viewing audience?
listen,
Black Star or
don't, you haven't, yes, Les Black Star is an important program, and we need to support it and make sure that our young people take advantage of the programs. They got some
May
wonderful
6th, we have
programs.
something coming to Black Star. You hear about it more in our next programs, and we'll see you next week. And I want to thank you so much.
And thank you for having
Man,
me.
I'm glad you
And it
made
went
the
too so
time. Yes.
fast.
I'm glad you found time for us today. That was so
yeah.
gracious of you.
Well, listen, accountability is the watchword.
That's the word.
That's the word.
You're going to keep
get
writing
done.
about it in the...
Oh,
Crusade?
absolutely.
You're gonna,
Absolutely.
You're
It's
not going to
gonna be
bite
in
your
there.
tongue anymore?
No, not at all.
You're not gonna
I'm going to
start?
have to stop doing all of those janitorial services and all that I do and do more writing.
Okay.
I've got 5 books I want to do.
I'm looking forward to your memoirs whenever they
Thank
have it
you. I got to hurry up.
Okay.
Memory fading fast.
Just keep notes. Keep it journal
Okay.
going. That makes a difference.
I expect that I will be doing that real soon.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Looking
okay.
forward to that. You've been with the Black Star Still Rising program. I'm sitting in for Othel Owen, the normal host. I'm Stephen Carter, the Black Butterfly. And I've had as my guest the editor, publisher of the Crusader magazine. And she-
Newspaper, he gonna get it right soon.
Oh, because I read,
He's done a lot of magazine stuff.
I was doing the magazine stuff, right? Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.